When you think of United number 7s, you may think of Best, Robson, Cantona, Beckham, Ronaldo and even little Johnny Berry. But another one that fits easily into that set of magnificent 7s is a winger who harried defences for United throughout the mid-70s and into the early 80s. This scout, Stephen James Coppell, was born in Norris Green, Liverpool on the 9th of July 1955 to a family of Liverpool fans. As a boy, Steve was fairly physically underdeveloped. He was approached by a Tranmere scout who eventually convinced him to come for a trial at Prenton Park. This opportunity conflicted with Steve's ambition of going to study economics at the University of Liverpool, but as that didn't start till the October, he was persuaded to train with Tranmere until at least then. Impressing in pre-season, Steve's debut for Tranmere was in a friendly against East Stirlingshire, who in turn had a man experiencing his first game in club management. That man was Alex Ferguson. Halfway through his second year with Tranmere and his degree course, he got a call from the club to come in. The Docs himself states that it was no other than his old friend and ex-Liverpool manager Bill Shankly who told him that Coppell was another Ian Callaghan. Regardless of who it was, Coppell was Docherty's man, and according to the Wiley Scott, his best ever signing at United. The Doc was waiting for the 19-year-old when he arrived, after agreeing a fee of £30,000 with a Wirral club. The winger offered to give up studying his economics degree to show his commitment. The Doc said, "No, you'll finish your degree. Football will chew you up and spit you out, and tomorrow you'll be yesterday's news. If you have a degree, it will stay with you for life." Steve debuted in the 74-75 season against Cardiff in Division 2 as a sub. He came onto a chorus of boos early in the second half as fan favourite Willie Morgan was hauled off, but ended up being involved in 2 of the 4 goals for a dream debut. United remained unbeaten for the rest of that season, with Steve playing 10 of the last 11 games, helping United to gain promotion as Division 2 champions. In the following year, in the 75-76 season, United were up for the double. After promotion, there was a real resurgence in the team with Coppell and Gordon Hill on the wings. The side was playing exciting attacking football. In the end, Liverpool scraped the title by a point from QPR, with United 4 points behind in third. For his part, Steve was fitting in nicely, working tirelessly down the right wing. Nothing fancy, just getting to the line and putting a series of killer crosses in. More disappointingly, United also missed out on the cup that season, as the boys played second-tier Southampton. A dodgy offside-looking Bobby Stokes goal was the difference on the day, as the lads never really got going. Fortunately for Steve and the boys, United came back to Wembley to face the winger's boyhood club, Liverpool, the following year. Steve had no split loyalty though. What had been in the past didn't matter. This Scouser was up for the cup for United. A fairly dull match briefly came alive for 5 minutes in the second half, as United took the lead through Pancho, only for Jimmy Case to equalise for them almost straight away. Not to be outdone, just minutes after that, United concocted probably the flukiest goal in cup final history, as Lou Macari's shot cannoned in off Jimmy Greenough and over the despairing Liverpool keeper Ray Clements. That was enough to ensure the Doc's first Wembley win, and that Steve Coppell and the lads had their first piece of silverware. In general, Steve's Coppell play was simplistic, direct but effective. He'd receive the ball on the right, go past the fullback and get a top-notch cross in. There was no Ronaldo, Best, Beckham flaring tricks, just straightforward, tireless wing play. If he'd lose the ball, he'd work his socks off to get it back and wouldn't stop running for 90 minutes. He was full of effort and energy. He'd always give 100%, never shirked the toughest or even the most menial of tasks, and was a constant 7 to 8 out of 10 performer for the club every single week. Hence his record run in the team, an unbroken ever-present for years, for a massive 207 games between 1977 and 1981. That reliability was priceless, and he also popped up with a decent amount of goals himself too. The Doc was sacked for non-football related matters, shall we say, weeks after United's first trophy in 9 years. Under his successor Dave Sexton, Steve was expected to hold back more and help in defence. Steve got on with his job, creating and scoring goals. Coppell played in his third United FA Cup final in 1979, but it would be another disappointment as the boys went down 3-2 to Arsenal. After Sexton, I'm guessing the Scouser was relieved when Big Ron took over in 81, encouraging more flamboyance and flair in his team. Apart from that, Brian Robson had joined the new boss from West Brom and would be getting his number 7 shirt. Coppell would now be number 11. Steve's United form was rewarded with England recognition. England boss Ron Greenwood gave Steve his debut in a World Cup qualifier versus Italy in November 77. It was Steve's dream to play in the World Cup finals, and he was in the starting lineup against Hungary at Wembley when the Three Lions needed to win to qualify for Hispania 82. However, the winger was brutally taken out by Hungarian fullback and captain Josef Toth, who tackled him up at his knee, which snapped the United man's ACL and tore his meniscus. Steve said that it felt as if a firework had gone off in his knee. The Hungarian wasn't even booked, but England won the match and made the finals. The United man then had to decide whether a specialist surgeon would open his knee up and take a look, which would be a major procedure as there was no keyhole surgery in those days. As he didn't want to jeopardise playing in the 82 World Cup in Spain, especially after missing out in 78, it was a tough decision. In the end, Steve elected not to have the surgery and played on with the injury, nursing it through the rest of the season. He fulfilled his dream though and was selected for the World Cup. The tournament started well for England, winning all their first group stage games, but when they went out in the second group stage, Steve missed the crucial final group match against Spain after receiving a steroid injection for his painful knee. That would be his only shot at a World Cup. In all, Steve won 42 England caps, scoring 7 times. Back to club football, and regardless of the injury, Steve had just signed a new 5-year contract with United. However, his knee was still a massive problem, but after 2 operations, nothing had improved. Despite this, the winger played on for 2 more years, even playing in the losing '83 League Cup final against Liverpool. But he missed out on the same year's FA Cup final against Brighton. As time went on, the winger started to miss more and more games and had a 3rd operation, but the post-op assessment wasn't good. Coppell was advised that if he wanted to walk when he'd be in his 40s, he should quit the game immediately. It was a very tough emotional decision, but always the pragmatist. Steve Coppell retired from football aged 28 after 396 games and 70 goals for the Red Devils, as well as countless assists and memories. After United, Steve considered going into teaching, as that was always his fallback option when studying his economics degree, but instead found himself manager of Crystal Palace as chairman Ron Nodes approached him in the summer of '84. At 28 years and 10 months, he became one of the youngest managers ever in English football. He'd be the first of 4 spells at the helm in South London. His Palace side made steady progress over the next 5 years, finally winning promotion via the '89 Second Division playoff final against Blackburn. The first season in the top flight under Coppell included a 9-0 defeat at Anfield in October '89. Ironically, it'd be Liverpool who Palace would go against in the FA Cup semi-final that year, and perhaps the occasion played on some Liverpool conceit and complacency, as Eagles famously won that game 4-3 in extra time and set up a Dream Cup final against the boss's old club. The 1990 Cup final between Manchester United and Crystal Palace was a ding-dong battle between 2 sides with vulnerable defences but decent attacking options. Coppell's Palace went ahead early on, but Captain Marvel equalised. Then braces from Mark Hughes and Ian Wright for United and Palace respectively put the game into extra time. It finished 3-3 and so triggered a replay. United won the replay 1-0 with a superb Lee Martin winner from a sublime Neil Webb pass. Steve was a loser at Wembley again. Despite an excellent 3rd place finish the following season, Palace's best performance in their history, they would eventually be relegated in 92-93. Coppell subsequently resigned. Steve, apart from several Palace comebacks, also had short stints with Man City, Brentford and Brighton before landing the Reading job in 2003. Reading registering a record 106 points and 33 wins on their way to the Second Division title in 2005-06, and earning himself back-to-back Manager of the Year awards for that achievement, and then for guiding the Royals to 8th in their first ever top flight season. On the back of this success, Steve Coppell was also voted Chief Executive of the League Managers Association. After resigning from Reading in 2009, Steve then managed a couple of lower league clubs before finding a new challenge in the Indian Super League before COVID ended his tenure there. In all, Steve Coppell to date has managed over 1,000 matches. So that was another United legend, Steve Coppell. What did you make of this tenacious, hard-working fan favourite who made it to 5 finals with the club? How do you think he would have fared if it weren't for his horrific injury in his prime? Let me know in the comments below, and like, share and subscribe. Thank you as always for your support.